All right, well, I think we can get started. Good morning to everybody. So my name's Seth Berman. I'm the CEO of Instantiations, and I'm delighted to be here in France at this conference. I kind of missed you guys last year, but I'm very grateful to be able to be here this year. So as always, I like to just extend a thanks to the organizers who put these conferences together. It takes a lot of work, especially to do it year after year. And so we just want to recognize your hard work and that it's truly appreciated. So for those that don't know me, I'll just provide a quick little bit of background about myself. So I got started with programming when I was about 9 years old with a language called Logo Writer, if anybody remembers those. And so I was pretty much hooked after that. I attended a lot of programming camps, building games in Logo Writer with joystick interfaces and all of that. And even to this day, programming remains one of my primary hobbies, even though I do it in a professional setting as well. I later got a bachelor's degree in computer science and a master's in software engineering. But while none of my formal education involved small talk, fortunately, my first job out of college was in modeling and simulation for the US government, the largest of those applications being written in Smalltalk. And in fact, it was written in the Smalltalk dialect that Instantiations supports, enhances, and modernizes today. So my career took me in several directions after that, different languages, different technologies, but ultimately that was very broadening. However, I was really glad to find my way back to Smalltalk about 13 years ago by way of Instantiations. So at the end, I've always thought it was kind of cool to be able to lead the company that I kind of got who made a product I got my professional start in over 23 years ago. And for those who are not familiar with Instantiations, we're kind of known for being the developers of the VAS platform, or VA Smalltalk as it had been known until recently, and before 2005, IBM Visual Age for Smalltalk. So essentially, for about 35 years, Instantiations has had a deep focus in basically development platforms, runtimes, and the tooling to support those. All right, so in this session, I'm going to cover quite a few topics. First, my goal is I just want you guys to get a better sense of the company, like who we are and the kind of things we care about. So to do this, I'm going to touch on our company's sort of primary core value and why we think that's really important and how it helps us as a company. I also, want to tell you a little bit about what we've been up to over the last few years, how we're sort of evolving as a company, and where we're headed in the future. And then we'll get into kind of what's coming up for the next release of Smalltalk development environment for the VAS platform 2025. And then, at the end, time willing, I'm certainly happy to answer any questions you might have. Okay, so Instantiation's core values. Well, people, it's central. It's the central core value of Instantiations. And I'm going to explain a little bit about that in more detail, but to do so, I'll back up for a moment and talk a little bit about the business model and tie it back to our core value. So at the Smalltalk conference in Argentina, I sort of posed this question to the audience, and I asked if they knew what a boutique company was. And while I was updating this presentation, it occurred to me I'll be giving it in France. And I know that boutique is a French word with the same spelling. So I gather many of you know what it means, probably better than I do. It's literal meaning. So instead, just as a small shop, any small shop, but instead, I want to examine for a moment sort of the nuanced difference that it's used in English, particularly in the United States. And perhaps this nuance holds here as well. I'm not quite sure when I looked it up, it seemed like it didn't, but I'd certainly be happy to hear about it. So basically, it tends to mean a small specialty store selling unique, hard-to-find items, a focus on personalized service, and providing a customized customer experience. So in the traditional retail market, this is typically the way you would describe, capture its meaning. However, boutique also describes a business model, one that's focused on serving a highly specific segment of the market. So it emphasizes the quality of services around its products, customer experience around its services in a way that's hard for competitors to match. So it's a specific business model methodology to achieve a competitive advantage in the market. So in contrast, there are businesses with a profit center model. They typically tend to be much larger. They specialize in a lot of different markets, bringing a lot of resource to bear on many different products and sort of emphasizing maximizing profitability. And realistically, regarding of what model you use as a commercial business, you should be managing profit and growth, growing a business to meet new demands from customers, and the greater market must always be under consideration in order so that your business not just continues to survive, but to thrive. So Instantiations has always operated using a boutique model. And we've done this because it best supports our primary core value, which is people. And this is realized by maintaining a focus on 3 different areas. So the first is our company culture. We ensure we maintain a strong culture with highly skilled and motivated engineers committed to customer success. Our staff is a tight-knit group of that support each other. Our well-being, our development, high levels of collaboration and engagement exist at Instantiations. And sort of without the wonderful staff that we have, Instantiations wouldn't exist in its current form. And we would sort of struggle to reflect our core value externally. So our customers are crucial to our success. And we believe, in turn, Instantiations is instrumental in their success, too. So we strive to contribute, to that success in a number of ways. Most of those ways involve our staff having a good understanding of customer needs and delivering high-quality support and product features to fulfill it. And sort of as a result, our customer interactions tend to be very relational and focused on customers' long-term success instead of more transactional and only focused on sort of the short-term success, sort of did we make the sale or not. So regarding community, we're all stronger as a result of that. We recognize that. You recognize that. We're happy to be a part of it, give back wherever we can with sponsoring events like this one, as well as the Small Talk Conference and others. We're also, we host various events in the United States, but also coming this fall on October 16th, we'll be hosting a VAST Summit in Stuttgart, Germany. Both Instantiations and customers will be giving talks, so stay tuned for more information on that. And we also like contributing code to open source projects wherever we can. And this is an evolving story. We're always figuring out, as a commercial business, how to engage better in community. So our relational business model, with its strategic emphasis on people, has led to happier staff, happier customers, community involvement, and the continued expansion of the company with new opportunities over the years. So it's something we really care about and live out. So now, with that said, what's the result? What's the result of Instantiations continually putting value on people? What's really, it's certainly a nice sentiment, but what is the value of doing it? And so, not unexpectedly, it's resulted in new opportunities that have, been years in the making, which has allowed us to evolve in a positive direction where we're able to grow, serve new markets, as well as our existing core markets even better. So Instantiations has been growing for some time in order to meet some new exciting demands. First thing is we've acquired a new business line. I spoke a little bit about this at the Small Talk Conference last November in very limited detail because we were right in the middle of finalizing the acquisition. I mean, literally, I finished my talk there and I sat down and I was docu-signing contracts. So, however, at this point, we are 7 months into that takeover of a business line I'll speak more about on the next slide, as well as its significance to the VAST platform and its longevity. And as part of this new business, we've been heavily expanding the size of the staff of the company. We have a very talented and dedicated team that joined us this year and are supporting the customers of our newly acquired business line with software development activities and various styles of support engagements. We've hired more staff to join the VAST engineering team, which is now led by Mariano Martinez-Peck. They did an awesome job with the more recently released VAST Platform 2024, and they are hard at work on VAST Platform 2025. And our customers, our VAST customers in particular, are going to see, continue to see tremendous benefits on the VAST line from this trajectory. We've got new staff to help Instantiations continue to grow in organizational and operational maturity. Greg Schultz, who's with us today, who gave the company update last year in my stead, is primarily responsible for this aspect of the company as our Vice President of Growth and Operations. In the areas of security and risk management, we've brought in a CISO, which is Chief Information Security Officer, to help with some new security requirements, help us mitigate risk, and other business-wide improvements. There are many other sort of fantastic people we've been bringing on board to help manage our new responsibilities and to help serve the customers in the best way we can. Another part of making this all possible is continuing to add to the solid foundation of all of our products, such as VAST, with new technologies. Concerning VAST, we've talked about tech like Rust, being the backbone of our Unicode framework. You've seen some of those presentations earlier within our virtual machine already. And we've added even more performance and stability and usability improvements for VAST 2024, which was released this past March. If you've used VAST in recent years, you know that it's extremely stable and performant, and that trend's only going to continue. So we're even starting initiatives to improve the customer experience really all around, even in ways that help us carry out our relationship with them. So we teamed up with a technical partner with them of ours in Raleigh, North Carolina, to help us build out 2 custom ITSM customer portals. So that's a IT service management for our 2 core business lines. So we're always working hard to deliver even better, an even better experience with us, more value, which includes both products and services. And there's going to be a lot of, lots of other ongoing improvements as well. As part of our growing as an organizational maturity, with the help from our CISO and a third-party auditing firm, we're currently working on getting our SOC 2 attestation. And at a high level, SOC 2 is a framework for cybersecurity protection, which is very similar to, it's a subset of ISO 27001. That includes sort of built-in company-wide audit controls to confirm our ongoing compliance. And this is all for working with those customers who are in a more demanding industry that must adhere to strict regulations. So, and we're really excited to actually make that investment because we sincerely want our customers to always have a very high level of trust in Instantiations, how we conduct ourselves internally and externally in terms of how our business processes are, including how we handle their data. Okay, so everyone at the company has been extremely supportive and excited about this. Instantiations is now directly supporting many of the largest financial institutions in the United States and Canada on mission-critical systems that use a suite of products that we have now taken over support of, and which we will be continuing to improve and modernize off into the future. These products are supported by our amazing fintech staff in a 24/7 capacity. One of them is actually here joining us to help. I wanted him to get a sense of ESUG and the great community that it is. So thank you, Robert, for coming. This business acquisition took about 2 years to finalize, and it officially began on January 1st of this year. So it certainly took a lot of time, energy, and trust to bring this together for everyone involved. And I'm personally very thankful to our entire staff for being so patient and supportive throughout the process. You know, in retrospect, 2 years is a long time of investment and uncertainty. You know, but we moved at a pace that left Instantiations always convinced this was a beneficial move for everyone. And here's the really exciting part from our standpoint. You know, in addition to some other language and technologies we're now taking on, many of these products, if not most, are implemented using the VAST platform. And because of this, and who we are, it represents a very unique value proposition for our fintech customers, because Instantiations has both the application domain experts and the platform runtime engineers at the company. So this is not a typical situation that you would see in the industry. This dual capability allows us to deliver really high levels of integration and optimization at speed, because we have the ability to make changes across the entire stack, from the very top of the application domain all the way down to just above the bare metal of the machine. And we've got the infrastructure and people in place to support all of this. So as an example, you know, we can enforce, you know, very stringent security measures at every level of the technical stack, providing our clients with a more robust defense against potential threats. So holistically, I mean, this is a win-win, because our fintech customers get this incredible support capability from one company, and in turn, Instantiations can make relevant business investments in multiple business lines. And we kind of believe this creates a very special and unique value proposition in the industry. This is also a big win for our existing VAST platform clients as well, for many reasons, but you know, just to name a few. You know, the fintech business line further solidifies the importance and longevity of the VAST platform. So not only are our customers using it for their organizations and their customers, but we're using VAST ourselves to directly support customers in real-world mission-critical applications. So another way to think about it is, we have essentially become a customer of ourselves. And therefore, we're now better positioned to understand and empathize with the evolving needs of our customers. And this has the net effect of allowing us to serve them better, since we're on more of a kind of a parallel journey with them. Also, we have more resources to invest in VAST, as it remains a central technology in our fintech product stack for the long term. So our VAST customers will get even more value out of their customer experience with us as we continue to heavily invest in VAST. And this has already been kind of demonstrated even this year with the investment of the VAST customer portal, a custom developed ITM solution, which sort of raises the bar in our service by providing a far more professional support experience than the tools would have allowed us to do before. So we are absolutely convinced that the relationship of these two business lines is allowing Instantiations the opportunity to serve all of our customers, you know, even better for the long term, while continuing to maintain our market focus. And, you know, we've seen indications that this is true. We have lots of VAST customers that have invested in us for many, many long years, and we look forward to continuing to provide them more value by working with us. So it's really a great story all around, given the VAST platform, you know, a continued and bright and stable future. Okay. So in order to sort of build, maintain, enhance, and support, you know, the VAST platform, the fintech applications, and everything we deal with, it takes actually a very wide range of skills, knowledge of languages, frameworks, technologies at many different levels of abstractions to get those done and delivered. So as a result, we have the skills on staff to help with a wide range of customer needs. So over the last few years, we've had an uptick in companies reaching out to us to see what additional engagement opportunities we could offer them. So in fact, that's how the acquisition of the fintech business line came about. It was from our engagement with one of our customers, arguably a very long and involved one. However, as we've been internally reflecting on how customers are seeking to engage with us, you know, we've been building out a formalized umbrella of services that cover the spectrum of needs that we're seeing. So as a result, we've been working with many of our VAST customers in ways that go beyond just the support of the VAST platform itself. Our fintech clients, as they are getting to know us better, are expressing the same desires, and these kinds of activities are beginning to occur as well. So how is this done? I mean, sometimes customers need more specialized help than what we can offer with our standard support. So it may be helping them with a specific application issue that requires us to be, working more closely with their development team and have the right sort of contractual arrangements in place to do so. We've assisted in helping customers migrate to the latest versions of VAST, and in doing so, we often work hard to improve their system in a way that makes it easier for them to upgrade in the future. And there are really there's all sorts of reasons, but essentially it comes down to working more closely with customer teams and having the appropriate arrangements in place to use one of our core VAST engineers to work directly on customer systems. So we've had customers in both business lines that wish to have a specific feature developed and supported for the long term. And realistically, this usually requires quite a bit of discernment for everybody involved, because instantiations has to answer questions like, is this feature appropriate for the core product, or is it more of a domain-specific feature that needs to be developed on top of the product? Do we feel comfortable supporting this feature for the long term? What impact will that have as the product evolves? And likewise, customers need to say, well, are the constraints of how instantiations has to develop the feature acceptable? Is the value there, given the level of effort, the time, the cost to build it? So these are conversations that we have with each other, and we enjoy being the ones to help them. So training opportunities are not anything new, but historically we haven't devoted a large amount of time to developing new training courses. Well, that is all changing by the end of the year. We have an Instantiations developed Smalltalk training program that we've run internally with a staff member who was experienced in Smalltalk, as well as an intern who was not. And we are very pleased with the results. This will help in situations where new teams are rolling on to support existing VAST systems, but we've heard feedback from those teams that they don't quite have the expertise in VAST or Smalltalk to get going quickly and confidently. So we're going to be ready to answer that call. And there are more services or tweaks to existing services that the leadership team is always considering, and we'll certainly announce those as they become available. Okay, so what's upcoming for Instantiations? Well, at a very high level, we're constantly reviewing what we can do to improve ourselves and the complete suite of products we care for, such as the VAST platform and the fintech products. We're certainly in a growth phase at the moment, and that will continue for the foreseeable future. It's an exciting time for Instantiations, and we're looking forward to the new possibilities that will result from it. That said, the management team at Instantiations carefully monitors growth, to ensure sustainability. And that's, of course, more important in some ways than the growth itself. Continued emphasis on what we value as a company. Again, it's a focus on our customers, our community, our staff. This is ultimately what has brought us success, and we believe, will be a recipe for our continued success. We found that, over time, solutions just sort of tend to fall into place when you prioritize putting the right people in the right places, doing right by the people themselves, and doing good business with others, and being involved. I know we've talked about this before, but every community, Smalltalk included, needs infusions of new ideas. For us, this means getting inspired by great technologies, approaches, and lessons learned from others and adapting them to the needs of VAST and Instantiations. So like the lessons we learned from languages like Dart and Rust and Swift, which provide some great building blocks and tools for our asynchronous framework and Unicode support library, we'll continue looking outwardly for new lessons. Looking outward is not just about inspiration, but sharing our expertise also. So we've seen significant adoption of our port of VAST's compression library to the Dart language. We're sure that continuing this approach will yield other useful exchanges in the future as well. Now, building bridges between communities through sharing and porting code is, of course, mutually beneficial. But it ultimately ends up educating, other developers outside of our community about Smalltalk too. So by taking this approach, we think it's possible to grow VAST and its usage beyond, just the Smalltalk community. In truth, it all starts with a meaningful exchange of technology and ideas. Right? So again, this is another reason why looking outward is such a great thing to do. And with this exchange of information, plus our continuous R&D, we'll keep bringing new things to the table. VAST is a great platform that can integrate various technologies, and with web-based capabilities coming more and more important, we'll be focusing on new communication technologies and protocols, and our new async technology is part of that too. Those are the use cases we're optimizing for, because this is where a lot of the active development is happening with our customers. We'll still continue addressing all layers of the stack for thick client applications where there's demand to do so. But we must anticipate the features needed for development in the future too. Okay, so that hopefully gives you a good understanding of the company, a little bit more, where we're headed, and what's really important to us. And now, so we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk tech. Specifically, let's talk about the VAST Platform 2025 and what features are planned for that. Okay, so we have some great virtual machine engineers, and they're constantly, working with the doing great things, optimizing the virtual machine. LLVM is the compiler used to build our virtual machine, or many parts of it. So we've upgraded to the latest release of LLVM and absorbing some improvements there. Also, we've made some adjustments to sort of dynamic sizing of weak queues. Done a lot of work in that area, which the net effect of that essentially is it's adaptive to the kind of allocation behavior happening. It's going to smooth out allocation rates, help with garbage collection. It's a nice feature that's coming in. So if you saw some of the other talks, you kind of already know about some of the Unicode library enhancements, which are awesome. Unicode string hash improvements, update to the latest version of the Unicode database before release. We have full Unicode integration in Seaside. And part of that is updating to the latest version of Seaside, but also will improve rendering and inputs of Unicode strings as an example. Okay, better Unicode development tools. Now, when you're looking in our environment, UTF-8 encoded objects are during debugging of a Unicode string has been greatly improved. So you're probably starting to see a theme here. We've got Unicode support for XML is another feature we're planning. So you can see we're kind of moving around the entire product stack and updating everything to account for our new great Unicode support. So multi-monitor support improvements. This is really cool. I mean, we've had, this has been a long time coming where we've done a lot of great high DPI across the entire product, but also, in this case, you have multiple windows open on separate screens, and each of those have separate DPI scaling factors. We now have, the ability to accommodate those as you're dragging windows around different screens. Okay, we've got OpenSSL updates. Security, you probably can get why this might be at this point, is paramount to what we do. And so we'll be updating that to the latest. We'll also have official SQL Server support. We'll be adding more testing to make sure that's working well. Also, SQL Server support for Glorp. We've got table widget integration, so some Windows control, and integrating that with Window Builder Pro, which is our UI drag and drop GUI builder, or one of them. And finally, we've got multi-year, this is a multi-year project. GTK development continues. Work is continuing on it. It's improving the look and feel and development experience on Linux. GTK will provide a better path forward and for more visual capabilities, and eventually enable VAST compatibility on platforms beyond Windows and Linux. So the VAST team has had just recently an internal demo of a GTK-enabled VAST runtime, launching with some initial GTK widgets. So we're making great progress, and it was certainly exciting to see that demo. So at this point, we're planning to release of VAST 2025 in Q1 of 2025, which makes sense. Okay, and with that, I'll certainly open it up to questions, but I thank you for attending the talk. I hope it's been informative about where we are as a company. And yeah, thank you.
I say thanks very much for the update, and we can attest to the stability and the performance. Well done. Two questions. You guys have put quite a lot of work into the ARM space and into the IoT space as well. Maybe just a quick mention of those. And then also on the database front, any plans for support of non-SQL databases, document or graph particularly?
I'll have to hand the latter one off. Maybe if you guys want to speak to that. The first one, I guess. Well, and I'll let you guys fill in. So this all got started because one of our local partners in Raleigh is the Raleigh IoT Foundation, which we are a sponsor of. And VAST has some very unique capabilities in that space because we can package sub-megabyte runtimes. We have a JIT compiler, really more of a template style JIT compiler that's very energy efficient, and we've done some demos at our convention center in Raleigh showing, VAST on a Raspberry Pi, remote controlling a car with a joystick, and then the remote debugging aspect. Everybody's kind of blown away that we're making changes, 20 feet away, and the car just starts, doing something else. To us it's normal, but it's still especially in the IoT world. And so that investment is still there. They're still part of, we're always looking for more ways to work with them, especially with things like AI coming up and how that can run on edge devices. That's sort of, that's something that we're thinking about. Now, we did do ARM support just, basically for other reasons than IoT. It tends to be, and I think someone made the point here, and we agree because we saw the same thing. It tends to be far more energy efficient than the Intel processors. So when our customers are running up in the cloud, where you're paying, by energy usage or by memory used or by processing power and that kind of stuff, it certainly helps to have. It tends to be cheaper to run with ARM-based. So the IoT story continues. We don't have that continues to be. I'll call it in the research and development as we continue to work with our partners and say, where is this all heading and how can VAST play a role in that? For the latter part. The NoSQL, I don't know if anyone from my staff,
So, if you ask me, I would really like to have a NoSQL support in VAST, maybe Mongo or something like that. But as it happens in general, the new features are customer focused. It looks like we didn't receive that much requests for NoSQL in our support channel or when talking to customers. We even did a customer survey, I think it was 1 year ago or 2 years ago, and where we asked our customer which features they would like to see. Having a NoSQL was one of the questions, and that didn't resulted in a big request either. So we are not against. It's just that currently it looks like most of our customers, it seems like they already have a database. It didn't. The request wasn't big enough, but it's not that we are against. It's just.
So one of the challenges as a small talk vendor is you have a large base of people who are using VAST, and you want to add new things to it. How successful are you at adding new things without breaking all the old applications that still work? I've seen I've seen projects that subclass from the weirdest classes inside the base library, and then when those classes change, suddenly their code doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. What's your experience with that? Have you found a lot of trouble with it?
That's a great question. Yeah, so I mean that's sort of our, that's very much a part of what we do when we move forward. It's like that's basically the first question we ask. Is like, okay, we're going to do this feature. Now, most people are focused on how do we get that feature. We're focused on how do we get that feature without breaking everybody's stuff. I mean, that's because you can tell by the kind of systems that VAST runs on. These aren't, these are critical, mission critical financial system, they're critical. So, but at the same time, we don't want people to get stuck in like, oh, well, you've moved so far forward now, and there's no way for us to meet you there because it's just too much change. Nobody's going to buy off on that. No, so we see those pressures. So that's why we spend so much energy in making sure there's a path forward. I mean, you saw like the Unicode string is a perfect example. We made that an opt-in feature. That adds more work for us to do that. We could just say, the hell with string, it's Unicode string now, and this is what you guys got. But I mean, that would be, from the way we do business, well, we wouldn't have a business, let's put it that way, if that's how we operated. You can't do that in the places we are. So, it's always a key question, and we plan for those. And yeah, it's on the other end, we don't want to be in a position where we're not moving forward. And of course, we're not infallible. I mean, we've moved forward and had a plan, and then we messed something up and we had to deal with that. I mean, that certainly happens. But it's a definite, it's definitely just a great question. It's a great question, and it's one that's key to what we're always considering. And there is that just sort of trade-off there. How far can we go to ensure that our customers can come with us, but we're continuing to move the product forward?
And I'll just add from my experience with VAST, we've had very little trouble moving forward. Oh. So congratulations and thank you on that.
Thank you, David. Thank you.